Welcome, everybody. We're here on a pre-recorded webinar. I'm here with Jeff Jacob. My name is Jay Billig, and we're here to help you discover your true nature and the uniqueness of one. As I said, my name is Jay Billig. I'm an international best-selling author of the book Architect of Being, Easily Create Your Dream Life from the Foundation Up, with a foreword by Bob Proctor. And I'm also the founder of New Thought Forum, which is where Jeff comes in. He is one of our outstanding presenters for New Thought Forum, and I'm so excited to be here today and to get to do this webinar with Jeff Jacob.
Jay, good morning. It's great to be here, and it's such a pleasure to be in on the ground floor of the inaugural New Thought Forum, which I think is a program that is needed now more than ever in recent times. A little bit of background on me, as you know, I've done a little bit of everything. I joke around with people when they ask at programs or events, can I have your business card? I always say, I think my next business card is just going to say professional dabbler, because I've been a Fortune 500 marketing specialist. I'm a songwriter. I've been an animal rescuer, an animal rights activist. I'm in nonprofit management. A lot of my days, I have a small team building company called the Song Team based out of Nashville, which you're aware of. I've worked with some really neat people over the years, such as Brian Adams, David Sedaris, Anderson Cooper, Rascal Flatts, Loretta Lynn, on different kinds of projects, which I could bore the audience with, but instead I'll just name drop. And I can't wait to jump in and meet the people at this program and talk with you further. Just so excited to be here.
Great. Thank you for being here.
William Arthur Ward says that happiness is an inside job. And as I sit here on a Saturday morning with you virtually, I'm sipping my coffee and looking at my honey-do list or my to-do list, and I was reflecting this morning as I put a child and dog-proof latch on the kitchen cabinet underneath the sink, how happy I was at this moment to be putzing around in the kitchen with something very elemental and simple as a screwdriver. I know it sounds kind of silly, with a little music on in the background and the coffee, of course, and just the matter of being in the moment without having to do 10 other things, even though they're on the list, without having to do those things, and accomplishing the very simple task of making sure that my dogs can't get into the kitchen trash, felt very peaceful at this moment. And I feel as though that's the kind of place I have to put myself in on a daily and sometimes hourly basis, reminding myself that it's really incumbent upon me to maintain that equilibrium of contentedness and happiness within the context of whatever is going on. It's certainly not always easy,
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I think we're, all of us have that, in our lives, and for me, I really realized at a early age, I think, that for me, happiness is a choice. Like, I've learned to, I just hearing your story of putting the latch on, it really is just being present, and allowing that to be part of the choice of happiness.
Absolutely.
So I want to play a little game here with you. Help me, just close your eyes, Jeff, if you would, and picture for me your front door and describe it.
My front door, newly moved in the last couple of weeks. So my front door, I think it's mostly beige and tan, and I think it says our address 107 on there on a tile somewhere, but I can't tell you much else about it, I don't think.
Okay. Well, picture for me your kitchen.
My kitchen is square and has a newly applied dog lock on the cabinet underneath the sink, and has tile floors, and there's a little bit of natural light that comes in through a window that attaches the kitchen to my workspace, my office, and there's a big sunlight. So that's where the natural light comes in.
Okay.
And it's at the kitchen here, like I think a lot of houses and homes, is kind of a focal point of energy in the house.
Well, I can, with that description, I can feel myself there as I close my own eyes and visualizing. I can feel myself there with you. So it sort of takes us to this idea that we think in pictures, and the visualization is so important.
Yeah, I agree. And it's an area where I certainly can improve upon probably a great deal. But visualization for most of us starts with intention setting, of course. And that intention setting can take many different forms. I know that for me, as for many, my intention setting before a yoga class is just what am I going to accomplish for that class. But for a day laid out in front of me, such as today, it probably involves me writing some notes about what I'm hoping to accomplish. It doesn't have to be fancy, but I do have to have it in front of me for me to focus in on the deal of what I'm going to get done that day. And then the actual act of focusing in on only one item at a time, mental focus, is again an area that some days I seem to excel in, and other days I really need to work at it to make sure that I'm present for each item individually at a time without looking too far ahead. And what do I really want at the end of the day from visualizing these tasks? Well, at the end of the day, I want peace, and I know that I get peace from having checked off most of what I hoped to accomplish that day. That gives me, like a lot of us, peace. And what that looks like for me at the end of this day will be being able to relax with the dogs, strum some guitar, watch the sunset, maybe read a chapter in a book. I know Buddha, this quote, Buddha, our life is the creation of our mind. Well, I'm hoping to create a day that perfectly balances, for me, productivity with being present and being able to relax at the end of the day, knowing I got most of what was meant to be done. And when I say meant to be done, that's me trying to self-talk, of course, telling myself, if I get 4 out of 6 things done, then that's probably what was supposed to happen.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, that I think, like I said before, we think in pictures, and I can see as you're talking about those things, your day unfolding, because our words like paint those pictures for other people too. And when you picture your mind, what comes to mind? Like, do you picture your brain? Think, like, perish that thought, because the mind is in every cell of your whole being, and it's your link, your connection to the source energy, and it is in fact pure energy. The body is this physical manifestation of that same pure energy. The brain is a part of the body, your control center, and it doesn't in fact control the mind. It's the other way around. The body is a vehicle of the mind. Imagine a puppeteer holding the strings of a marionette, and that marionette dancing across stage. That's like the mind actually controlling the body. It's I really, that image just sticks in my mind, because I can see ourselves, the things when we don't really have control, it sort of functions automatically.
Yeah, I think that, again, visualization and making those pictures, painting those pictures, if you will, in the mind is really incumbent upon us if we're going to be successful in whatever it is we do. And if that success means a productive day or a contented day, that visualization and picturing, being able to picture is very important. Most of what I'll be talking about is really the uniqueness of the one within the context of the collective, of the group. And when I go around the country And I hate to use the word speak because 80% or more of what we do in our programs is very much interactive with our audience, whether it's 10 people or 500 or 1,000. But for the sake of today, when I go around the country and speak, the uniqueness of the individual is always within the context of the collective, of the organization, the harmony of the individuals all working together towards a common goal. And at some conference, it might be about increasing the sales of an organization. At another conference, it might be about improving the communication within departments, which of course leads to more success down the road. So we always discuss the uniqueness of the one, the skills, the experience, the history, the inner being of the one, and then how that blends together with those same sets of attributes of the individual ones that person, that guy or that girl is working with on a daily basis, and putting those souls, if you will, together. And of course, we use the metaphor or the analogy of music notes in a chord to create harmony, which we'll get more into at some point in time. But any good leader, whether it's at a nonprofit or at a successful business like, for example, Virgin Airways, their leader, Richard Branson, is notorious for being a disruptor and being someone who very much seeks feedback from his employees at all levels, and has a very outside the box, to use an overly used cliche way of looking at things. He has always said that when he hires people in for a certain reason to his company, if they're not working out within that particular position, they will do everything they can at their company to find a different place within the organization for the individual they hired, because they recognize that the uniqueness of the individual, that person's skills and experience and the intangibles they bring to the table, there must be a reason they brought them on board and agreed to hire them in the first place. And if somehow they got it wrong as to what the initial reason was, they still have a lot of opportunities to get it right by trying some other spots within the company. It doesn't mean that they're 100% effective every single time, and that they hold on to every single employee they've ever held on to in an effort to move their company forward, but they give it the college try, so to speak. And I think that's a very unique perspective. I don't think you see that in a lot of organizations.
Well, I think that really, like it really speaks to the interconnectedness of everybody. That we are all sort of part of this process for a reason. So this image that you're seeing now is this picture of the mind. This was introduced in the 1930s by Dr. Thurman Fleet. He was working in San Antonio, Texas, and he was having a hard time helping his patients make the connection between their mind and body and that integration. And he realized, because we think in pictures, that he wanted to create a picture of the mind so that people could really see how they work, see how they tick, and really understand themselves, so that they could, grow themselves and with each other. And so he created this picture where we call it the Stickperson, where the larger circle at the top represents the mind and the smaller circle the body. There's a line down the center or through the middle of the upper circle is the division, the upper half of that circle representing the conscious mind, and the lower half representing the subconscious mind, and then the smaller circle representing the body. So when we talk about conscious mind, we're referring to the thinking or educated mind. It's where your senses are connected. You can sort of imagine little antennae coming out of this picture with your senses all linked up to it. Where your intellect lies and your free will. This is really a key, part of what it means to be human, is our free will. You can originate thoughts in your conscious mind, and by what you think about, you choose your vibration. Really, when we're talking about this pure energy of things, that's what we're talking about. So the conscious mind also can accept or reject any idea that comes into it. So, you have a thought about whatever it is, no, I don't want to have pickles on my sandwich. You can reject that idea, or you can also choose to accept blindly, which that is a choice in and of itself. The subconscious mind, also called the emotional or the conditioned mind, is that the plug into source energy or infinite intelligence in every cell of the body, and it works with, to, and through you. It accepts, different than the conscious mind, the subconscious mind accepts everything as real and can only say yes. So that's a really like unique thing to understand, that the subconscious mind is truly there just, yes, to whatever it is that is there within it and is vibrating at that energy level. So it speaks to the universal laws. You've probably heard of the law of attraction. Uh, there are some people count 12 laws, some count 7, or there's other versions of the universal laws, but there is this set of universal principles that work with every single person all the time. You cannot break these laws. They're where your paradigms and your beliefs live there in the subconscious mind and are governed by universal laws. So if you don't like something that's going on there in your subconscious mind, remember it's guided by these universal principles. How do you do something about it? You can change it. There's a couple of ways, either by shock, like 9/11 is a great example of how changing people's conscious awareness by a shock. Often it's a negative impact when that happens, or by repetition. You think something over and over and over, or you start to believe it, and that is what's going on with the subconscious mind. It becomes part of your operating system, and once it's there, then no conscious attention is needed. Remember, it works automatically, and it only can say yes because of this subconscious mind place.
I was taking some notes, which probably I'm the only one who can read, while you were talking about just now, Jay, and I was so interested in all of that, and I'm learning things from you as we speak, and for those who end up listening to this down the road today, it's so energizing when you're able to collaborate in almost any way with someone new, because you automatically inherit through osmosis, through if you're open, that is, through your pores, through the airwaves, some of the good stuff, some of the life force of that person you're collaborating with, I think. And what we'll be talking some more about down the road is one's own narrative. And of course, as we discussed a little bit a few minutes ago, the uniqueness of the one, but the strength in togetherness. And it's not impossible. As a matter of fact, it's highly desirable to recognize one's own strengths, one's own narrative, how to tell your own story. It's very desirable to, when you work within the context of an organization or any living organism for that matter, you could say that one's own body is an organization. We're an organization of different cells and different organs and different functionalities. You could say that you could make the analogy that our liver is the accounting department and our heart is the marketing department. You could draw all of these parallels between a healthy, functioning, living organism and a healthy, functioning organization, whether it's a nonprofit or a Fortune 500 company or a mom and pop entrepreneurial startup, which we know there are so many of these days. And so recognizing the individual strengths of you or I or anyone else, and then being able to wrap that up neatly in what I'll call the chord of the organization. What are the different notes that make up a chord, a G and a C and a D string, the notes in music that make up a G chord, for example, for those of you who are musically inclined. that's the same as a marketing professional and an accounting professional and an idea person and a CEO and the front desk person at an organization. If they're not working together to forward the mission of an organization, whatever that mission may be, then the organization will not be as successful as it can be. And to be that successful, the leaders of any organization need to realize that they have unique individuals put together to create a harmonic sound or harmonic mission of their organization. And that balance is not necessarily easy, but it's very doable with open-mindedness and flexibility. That balance, that it's almost like the pH balance in a pool, that balance between the uniqueness of the individual and the strength of the collective is a fine-tuned balance that I think every organization is seeking, but it starts with one. You have to be balanced within yourself before you can, of course, properly contribute to a relationship or to an organization what you have to offer, if that makes sense.
It does. Well, I'm just like I'm so moved by this conversation and like how all of this stuff integrates. You know what I'm talking about and what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So it's really a testament to what this next slide is talking about, that pure energy of everything in existence. The subconscious mind is pure energy, and everything else, including your physical form, the music. I love the vibration of music. I'm a musician myself, and that analogy of the vibration is just, it's why music is this universal language, because people resonate with it. That's what it's about. It's the energy of it. And people across the board, there is nobody, you cannot find a person anywhere that does not resonate with music. It does not exist that people don't resonate with music, because it is that vibration that people are that level. It's not thinking about it. It's at the core of their being. The energy also, it's always in motion. Nothing is created or destroyed, only transforming. And when you think of this and see it, this perspective, you can truly see that your essence is 100% perfect. And you then, from that place, you are tapping into this life force and the potential of all that is. We have infinite potential locked up inside of us. And we hear this both from, for centuries, we've heard it from the spiritual realm, and now we are hearing it from the physicists and the scientific realm, that truly we have unlimited potential. And that manifestation is our birthright. We are connected to this energy, and what we do with that is up to us. So this is just another little reminder of this Stickperson. When you see somebody out there, think of this image. It's really powerful. It helps to see people in context, because everybody, no matter who they are and no matter what their situation, they are doing the best they possibly can in that moment. Everybody is. And when you see that this life force energy is active in every person, it's very empowering when people are struggling or when they're really getting on your nerves, to help to see sort of what energy am I in? What feeling am I bringing to this, to have that experience here, and what are they going through? It puts a whole new perspective on empathy and walking in someone else's shoes. So the body, which from our senses and what we've been taught, the body seems like the biggest part of us, but in fact it's the smallest part. The mind is, as I said, connected to every cell of the body, and is this universal life force energy. Um, the body is simply the physical expression of you and your mind, a vehicle of the mind, and the physical resident. So your thoughts coming through your conscious mind, whether those thoughts are conscious or unconscious, they determine your feelings, and feelings determine your actions. And those actions, or your inaction, which is in itself, in and of itself, an action, determine your results.
It's wonderful. That's wonderful stuff, Jay. And I'm nodding my head and taking notes, mostly for my own consumption to improve how I self-talk myself this week. So I thank you for that. The body being the smallest part of that equation, and the mind and the potential of the mind and the force that we all share. I know, for example, I know for myself that that's a message I needed to hear this week as I approach the coming week, just because I know what's out there and I know what needs to happen. So that's awesome. When we're in harmony with ourselves, and therefore in harmony with our organization that we work in, or maybe our community that we work within, the company that we work for, and we're trying to achieve whatever measure success means to us and to our organization, that when we get in harmony with ourselves and figure out a way to make ourselves fit as a piece of the whole together better within that organization, then our organization, whether it's an animal rescue or whether it's a mom and pop coffee shop, which I know we all love, then that organization is going to achieve their success. And they're going to do that through creating. And we all love acronyms. And of course, at the song team, we have an acronym for CREATE. C is for creating a culture of listening. That's listening to ourselves, listening to what our body needs, listening to what our soul needs on a daily and on a regular basis, listening to what our organization needs from us, listen to what our clients need or our members need. We create a culture of listening. By doing so, we're also going to retain the best contributors within our organization, the best contributors, and without our organization, meaning those folks who contribute to the well-being of our greater community or organization. That's the C, and that's the R in CREATE. We're going to engage in active collaboration. We're going to collaborate with those within our organization, within our community. We're also going to collaborate with the members or the clients or the customers, whatever makes our organization sustainable. We're going to engage in collaboration within and without. We're going to amplify, CREA, we're going to amplify the individual strengths. So if we have hired someone, for example, from a business context, we hired them to do one thing and it turns out that they might be better at something else, we're going to try to find a way to put that person in a position to succeed individually, which is going to help us as an organization improve and succeed as an organization. We're going to train, that's the T in CREATE, train your team or our team to innovate daily. That means we're going to have an open-mindedness, organizationally speaking, an open-mindedness ourselves as leaders to new and fresh ideas, even if they don't seem like something as they're presented to ourselves that would be something that would be feasible or positive or productive for us. We're going to be open to those ideas, and that open-mindedness is going to make the other people we work with and ourselves more open to putting innovative and different ideas out there without fear of criticism or non-acceptance. By doing all of this, the C, the R, the E, the A, the T in CREATE, the final E, the second E in CREATE, of course, means it stands for we're going to enhance your productivity, both as an individual and as the greater collective. So that's CREATE. Create a culture of listening, retaining our best contributors, engaging in active collaboration, amplifying individual strengths, training our team to innovate daily, and enhancing productivity. And of course, for every person and every organization, the measure of productivity is different for everybody. It all comes back to the strength and uniqueness of the individual within the power of the collective.
Yeah, and I think that really this is how powerful is that, where we get to help each other be you know, be our best selves and stand up for each other, you know, not casting anybody aside.
Absolutely.
So how does this all like work together? You've got this for this picture of the mind and the body. You've got this energy flowing into the conscious mind where you're creating new ideas, and you can remember accept or reject any of those that you want. Those that you want, you impress them onto your subconscious, and the subconscious, remember, accepts everything as real. It can only say yes. So you fall in love with the idea as you impress it more and more onto the subconscious mind. You think about it. You draw pictures about it. You make your screensaver about it. All of these things that get you to fall in love with that idea. And as you do that over and over by repetition, you do get emotionally involved with it, and your vibration, that the harmony of you, the chord that you're operating at, shifts to a different vibration, and that change in vibration by law causes your body to move into action based on that vibration. And it's the only way our bodies move into action is based on vibration and the feeling that we have there in our subconscious mind. So that action causes a reaction, another one of the laws of the universe, from source energy, and that reaction causes results in your life. And then from that point, you can start that whole process all over again. You can look at those results.
Sure.
What do I want about these results? What can I do differently? And go through that process again. And I think it probably speaks very much to what you're talking about in any organization as this process unfolds. And you might need to have a different chord tomorrow in the organization than you do today to it's an ongoing process of unfoldment and expansion of life for all of us.
Absolutely. Well, how do you create your own reality, Jay? I know that for me, it doesn't come as easily as it does for some. I'm still very much in the middle of my evolution process. And so I still have to every day, if I'm going to be successfully content and successfully productive. And for me, generally, those two things are tied together. Although we don't always have to be in motion. I have to visualize, as we discussed earlier. I have to visualize. I have to try to see a picture. And I have to learn to accept and let go, all kind of in one. And I know that I'm better at this personally than I was 2 years ago or 4 years ago. But we're all on different points of that evolution thread, if you will, as far as making our own reality, manifesting our own reality, both. And of course, I always have to bring this back to the team or the community or the organization, individually creating my own reality and then trying to help manifest an improved reality for whatever organization I'm working with or the community that I live in. For some people, this conversation leads to how am I individually going to make a difference in the community that I live in? That community might be their organization, or it might be their greater, their circle, their organism, if you will. Yeah. And for a lot of us, I think that's very poignant these days. We have a local community and a national community that a lot of us feel as though we'd like to make a difference in, but it feels daunting and we don't really know how. Well, we have to get right with ourselves first if we're going to be effective there. And we can create that by working at it every day, creating that reality.
It is. Yeah, that's very well said. And I'm so moved by that. And for myself, like, I am definitely not cooked yet. There is, every day I'm learning, like, so many things every day, and discovering so much more about myself and how I can do things differently. And, you know, there are plenty of times when I'm like, what on earth was I thinking?
Right.
So,
Sure.
we all have those moments, and to the extent like we can connect with other people and be part of this ongoing conversation and support for each other in our evolution toward this vision that we have for, a much more peaceful world, for, a much more kind world, for, a sustainable world in sort of all the ways that comes to mind. I think we have that opportunity, and one way to do that is showing up with fresh ideas and tapping into this timeless energy source and the wisdom that comes through people like Jeff, and the wisdom that truly comes through you as listeners. Every one of us, we can't be disconnected from this stuff. And we are here to help you discover, your true self, and, hopefully you walk away connecting and finding ways to be more actively engaged for yourself, for your family, for your community, and ultimately for the world. We get to create our own reality. Let's do it on purpose. We can, we're here to be part of that conversation, and to, and to lift each other up, and create a much brighter tomorrow than the today that we have. So.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. On my end, tying in exactly with everything you've just said, well, I think, would you mind if I shared a chorus to a new song that I'm currently working on with you?
Not at all. Bring it on.
I'm working on a song that'll be a little bit bluesy. Matter of fact, I was messing with it when you and I got together to start today's webinar. But just the lyrics are as follows. Everything has changed, but nothing's different. Struggling each day, appreciating what we're given. The truth is here and right around the bend. You can't go back to Eden again. So there's a lot of ways you could go with that, but I'm going to choose, metaphorically speaking, to say that maybe you can't go back to Eden again, but you can create your version of Eden internally and within your community on a daily, weekly, yearly, on a daily basis. You can create that Eden, you can manifest it, and you can at least help move towards it. So I'll leave those thoughts with you.
You're not going to sing it?
The melody's still being worked on. Another 10 or 15 minutes, I might have had it, but I was working on it this morning.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that just really, it ties right back to where we started this conversation with happiness is an inside job, and taking that, out into the world. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you all of you, for joining us in this conversation today.
See you soon, Jake.
Our contact info is here on this last page. If you need to reach out or care to contact Jeff or myself, please feel free. And again, thanks for being here, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Take care, all.
Bye-bye.